One of the best things about Pacific is the sort of small class size, integrated community. For the university, I think students and faculty have a lot of opportunity to interact together very closely, either one-on-one or in small groups, and the students get a lot of faculty support, and the students also get to know each other really well by working together on collaborative projects, especially in many of our video and filmmaking classes. I also think one of the best aspects of the school that really stands out is opportunities for interdisciplinary collaboration, and as far as students are concerned that might be doing double majors or multiple minors in different departments and combining interests like photography and filmmaking, or graphic design and marketing, or you could study various scientific disciplines as well as art and then make projects about the environment to raise awareness through your photography and art about ecological problems in the state. Those are many things that our faculty and students do, and we actually have a lot of interdisciplinary classes that encourage these kinds of studies across the liberal arts and sciences to allow art students to have sort of meaty subject matter behind the projects that they're working on. Well, the part of the art department I'm most involved in involves a lot of digital media equipment and photography and video equipment and other facilities for that. And I think that we have a really great digital printing lab with professional Epson printers that are top of the line, and we spend a lot of time teaching our students both technical and conceptual skills. You'll get experience with equipment that is essentially what the industry uses today, and as well as developing concepts, themes, and messages in your work through interdisciplinary study. You learn how to use all kinds of modern camera equipment, studio lighting equipment, become an expert custom printer for doing professional inkjet prints that are sort of exhibition gallery quality. That's an important part of the courses that I teach. We do have a great photo shooting studio, which is where we're recording this interview right now, and classes focused on training students using all of this equipment, which I think is a big advantage. And this kind of training can lead directly to all kinds of career pathways in commercial photography or filmmaking, often starting out as an assistant on a large-scale shoot and developing expertise and becoming a professional in your own right as you progress with your skills after college.
What I love about UOP is, well, first of all, it's a very beautiful campus. I'm always inspired by the brick buildings and the beautiful ivy everywhere. But I also love the art department because it is also a very cool building. I'm a person who's very affected and inspired by their surroundings. So the art department is super cool, very lofty spaces, a lot of light, and I love that. It's also, we also have really good classes here, so I feel very, I'm in capable hands here, and I love learning from the professors.
I think one of the greatest strengths of this department is that it's situated within this really dynamic university setting. So while as a student here you learn how to be a professional artist, you also get to plug into the professional programs that the rest of the university offers. Very often our students end up minoring in psychology or history, and really creating a rich experience in that way. Another thing I really love about working here is that we have a really beautiful gallery, and every semester we bring in artists from the outside to work in the gallery, to deliver talks, and to work with our students. Most notably for me, we've had Enrique Chagoya, who's a really well-established contemporary printmaker. We've had an exhibit by Cara Maria, who is a very accomplished Bay Area painter, and performance and video artists, Annie Strader and Kirsten Beal. Those are kind of my highlights as I think of the gallery program, but every semester it changes and it brings something new to our students. I love working in this building because it is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful space to hold classes in. There's a lot of natural light, and as a facility, is probably one of the most beautiful art buildings that I've ever been into. I think that the real strength of this program, though, is that each one of our students are known to us. So as faculty, we engage on a one-on-one basis every single day. I work with my students in and outside of the classroom. Classes are spent a lot working on one-on-one kind of ideas and problems that each student have. We work them out through conversations. We work them out in and outside of the classroom. And so if you come here and you study here, we know who you are, we know what your strengths are, and we know what you need to work on, so we can help you build a professional career as an artist or designer.
Something I really like about University of the Pacific is the small class sizes. It's so nice to be able to work very closely with your professors and also know every single person in your classes, and I feel like you get to know them so well that you can really help each other with your weaknesses as well as your strengths, and it's a really nice balance. My high school was very big, and it was completely opposite of this. There was like 40 kids in my class, whereas here there's like 15, if even that. So I really like the one-on-one that we get to work with our professors and students. I think I thrive better in that type of environment.
Today we're going to take a look at the Photography 1 class here in the art department, and it's a pretty good example of what I've noticed over a lot of years is students come into the university and with this idea that there's the university and there's the real world. And I have noticed that those who kind of buy into that myth tend to miss something very important about the program itself. So today we're going to look at a project-based class, which is pretty typical of most of our classes once you climb up out of the foundational levels of our curriculum. This does start in the foundational level courses, but it tends to be the example of our level 2 and level 3 courses. So in this particular class, we're doing what's called Pacific Panorama 2015. It's part of longitudinal projects that I do with the students and have been doing with the students for quite a few years now, documenting downtown Stockton, documenting the campus as the landscape evolves, both the commercial landscape of downtown Stockton as well as the campus environment. And of course the campus, everybody knows the Pacific campus is gorgeous, so it's a project that the students like a lot, and they really get into it. In this project, we, as a real-world exercise, we learn to extend the frame of the camera. Instead of a single frame, they have to shoot panoramic sequential frames, and then using Photoshop, we use the computational automations in Photoshop to stitch these images together. We look at cropping ratios and file preparations, both global and local editing to refine the image, and then from there they build a template based on a model that myself or a graphic design student has prepared. Essentially each one of them builds a page for a book that will go into our university archives.
Hello, my name is Brett DeBoer. I teach graphic design, computer graphics, history of graphic design, all things related to graphic design here in the art department at the University of the Pacific. I've enjoyed being here now this is my 16th year, and I've worked as a designer in New York and Colorado, taught at a number of schools. I've taught everything from kindergartners to graduate school students, and in some cases the kindergartners did a little better on the same assignment. It's very fun. I enjoy being here. I enjoy the size of the art department. I enjoy the faculty that are here. When I talk to prospective students and their families, occasionally I find myself describing a couple of things. One is the difference between choosing to come to Pacific specifically, but also the difference between choosing an art school versus a state school or another private kind of institution. And I think it boils down to a couple of things. One is if you like the environment where you are going to be able to talk to your teachers, to get to know the students not only in your own class but other classes as well, you have the opportunity to do that. And I think it's a better opportunity to learn under those circumstances than if you have to really, really fight to become more than a number. I also believe in liberal arts education. I think especially as a graphic designer or an artist in general, but specifically a graphic designer, you need to be able to understand how the world works out there from a variety of viewpoints because you're working with clients and you need to understand what their needs are and how to reach their needs and match them up with your visual communication. So you need to have an understanding of how that world works. You don't have to be an expert in all those things, but you do need to know how to talk some of that talk. Just an art school, you become kind of siloed. You know only what it is to be an artist, and you can find it difficult once you're out of art school then to relate to the rest of the world. Well, let me talk a little bit more about graphic design in general. Sometimes students that are just out of high school are wondering what is the difference between graphic design and art, or just simply what is graphic design. And I think the best way is to try to explain it in a way that my mother would understand. So if you can explain what graphic design is to your mom, you probably have a good handle on which direction it is. And the difference, I think, boils down to you're still using art techniques. You might be a graphic designer using paint, or you might be using a computer, you might be using a video camera, you might be using any number of different media, just like you would as a fine artist. But your purpose is different. So the purpose of a fine artist is typically to express your own inner feelings about something, and you can put it out there and whoever sees it might have a different interpretation. As a graphic designer, though, you really can't do that. You need to know what your client's needs are, what they're trying to get across, and who they're trying to get it across to, or in other words, a target audience.